Sorry, everyone. I'm in my farm, and that's also one of the green hacks that everyone should invest in at least an acre of land. But you can go out of power quickly there. I'm actually apologizing for stopping and starting again, but I'm gonna, in the interest of time, do this quicker. As I was sharing that I was motivated to start this initiative for waste management pretty much after a visit to the landfill. So I walked up the Deonar landfill, which is Asia's largest landfill in Mumbai, where I live. And it was a shocker to kind of see that humongous pile. And that was back in 2008 and 9. And everything from like shoe soles and plastic packets, bedding, name it, it's there, rack pickers, and the noxious smell and the gases. And just trekking that mountain with all its earth hoovers and green trucks is appalling. And I feel that, it's really about time in the last 10 years of the work that I've been involved with in terms of waste management. We've done good role model projects, about 100 across India, but it's really a small number. The landfill still remains the same, and Mumbai has about 8,000 tons of waste continuously being dumped daily. And this is, collection, transportation, and dumping. This is really the model that we have that is practiced in most countries, including India. And you will believe it or not, just in a city like Mumbai, it's almost 250 crores of taxpayers' money that goes into managing our waste in a very bad way for the environment. And we don't even get a waste bill. So you and I don't really know how much money is going to manage our daily waste. But the reality is there is a lot of money. There are a lot of people who have to, there are 1,400 trucks. So the numbers are, appalling, and we really need to move fast and make some big movements. But what I'm going to share with you is success story here, because that's the idea, that you see a success story and see what we can do. So the model is a theory of change from centralized waste management. What we are propagating as the solution is decentralized waste management, which means you and I, each of us, takes responsibility of our waste. We audit our own waste and we manage it effectively. If we can do that, we can reach over 90% of our waste can be recycled, can be put back in circular economy, which means it's more, currently it's a cradle to grave approach. With decentralized, you can go cradle to cradle. So that's the good news, that you can recycle at least up to 90%. There are lots of people who say, let's do a zero waste facility or a zero waste building or a zero waste house. That in today's day and time, I mean, I've been working on this for a long time, it's still a myth. But yeah, 90-95% and even more, itching to zero is possible. So I'm going to share with you a case study, tempt you post-lockdown, and we plan a field trip to come. So this is Matoshi Pearls. This is in Mumbai, Mahi. As you can see, it's a tower. It's almost like a matchbox with no space around on the compound. So if Pratima were to look at this architectural design, she would pull her hair apart, because I don't really find having any trees or any breathable space around it. But anyway, given that, they have 65 apartments in the building, 22-story high, and 2 kind of wings, and they generate about 70 kgs of waste. So the math is that if you're a family of 4 living in a city of Mumbai, urban setting, you average generate 1 kilogram to 1.2. That's 1 kilogram, 250 grams of waste daily. And the good news is that 70% of your waste in an Indian household is biodegradable, which means it can be composted, it can be put back into earth, and you could have that circle go around. So that's 70%. 20% of your waste is dry recyclables, paper, plastic, metal, which can be recycled and must be recycled. There's about 5 to 10% of the household waste, which is reject waste, which is contaminants like sanitary napkins, diapers, these kind of waste streams you can't do much about, at least at community level or in a decentralized level. So what Matoshi Pearls did back in 2017, they did a project with our organization called RUR. And we have set up composting where they compost, if you see the numbers, 14 tons of bio waste daily. So imagine if they were, before that, they used to pack all their waste in plastic bags and they would get on a truck and go all the way to Deonar. So now that they're not, doing that, they're composting in their own premise. They are saving about 125 kgs of carbon dioxide annually. So that's how you can drop the carbon emissions. You can help clean up the environment and of course, grow a lot of green with your compost. And that's what they're doing. So I'll just give you a glimpse of what the process is. So either you start today doing it at home, but with home, you're limited that much space you have and that much amount of your wet waste will go in. Like you have a party or Ganpati or some festival where you have lots of coconuts and corn cobs and stuff. And a home capacity composter has this limit. But yeah, it's a good place to start. But ideally, be to your office complex. So the first step is obviously it's not like a rainwater harvesting project which Ravi's been propagating or a solar project, which are both sustainable. You could put a harvesting system. You could put a solar panel on your building. Nobody in the building needs to even know about it. The sun energy gets tapped and you use the power. Water gets recharged into the earth. But for a waste management project, it doesn't work if the people don't segregate. It requires people's participation. So the first thing is education awareness. People participation is the step in successful way. So if my society has the best technology, like most builders give very fancy electrical machines, but none of them work. One, they're too expensive. Two, they occupy a lot of space. The OPEX is high and people don't segregate. So unless you have segregation, so 3 bins, as you see, this building has 3 bins at every floor. So the flats come and put their green waste, and they don't have a bin for the dry waste because dry waste is very voluminous. Ideally, you put a crate or something, and they don't use any bin liners because you don't need a bin liner when you're collecting dry waste. Then you compost it in composters. As you can see, the compost comes out, and you can grow a terrace kitchen garden. And right now, this lockdown, Matoshi pearls had Karela, cucumber, pomegranates, lemons, the works, and mint. And they were super excited because all the residents could go and engage on their terrace. So here's a picture of their terrace. And before that, they also do a 7-bin collection of their dry waste in the building. So what you see is in the tray, the crate, the dry waste goes down, and then gets separated into 7 different ways so that of waste. Dry waste, so that it can go for safe recycling. So as you can see, this is the terrace garden, and because it's a sandwich building, there's no space in Mumbai or in bigger cities. So you could do, these composters are lightweight and you could do it on the terrace. And the principle of composting, a lot of conventional technology is pit-based. You dig up, and as like in my farm, I'm doing pit-based composting. It works when there is a lot of soil and there's an environment. In cities with a lot of concretization, pits, especially during monsoons, fail. They attract a lot of rodents and they don't pick up temperature to break down. So composting is a natural process. It requires air, temperature, moisture. Not anytime money, but air, temperature, moisture, ATM. Once you give the right ATM and you balance your kitchen waste, that's your fruit peels, TV eggshells, meat, fish bones, all that stuff, and you add your brown. Browns are important. Why most people don't compost is because it smells, because it leaks. They're worried about pathogens. They have a lot of myths, and therefore, city of Mumbai, very few people are composting. But the idea is to bust those myths. It's actually not a rocket science, very beautiful magic of nature. Actually, it's like a gift from nature. Everything breaks down. So you add your dry leaves, you get a good balance, and you can see it's a exponential curve. So composting goes through 3 stages: active when it starts breaking down, then cooking when it reaches a temperature of 50 degrees if you have the right composter, and then it starts cooling when you get your earthy, nutrient-rich compost, which is good with nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So that's how you know you're composting right. And because you attain a good temperature, any unknown vectors or pathogens also get taken care of. So aerobic biocomposting is ideally suited for our environment, especially for cities. And that's how you can start composting. And all your dry recyclables, that you should collect separately and channelize it to the right recycling. So guess what? The auto rickshaw, which I'm sure everybody has sat in a tuk-tuk auto rickshaw across India, the back seat, the seat you're sitting on, the driver's seat, are all made of recycled material. We don't know it's recycled, but actually it's made from Tetra Pak cartons, your juice, lassi, milk cartons. They get compressed under high pressure temperature to make composite sheets, which can replace wood. So a lot of the railways have adopted it, bathrooms. So a lot of good recycling. India has been traditionally recycling in an unorganized sector. A lot of our waste goes through kabadiwala chains, and paper becomes paper, cartons become sheets, plastic gets converted to plastic again. But the challenge, and this is a challenge for the group when we meet for the hackathon a few months down the line, is that are we recycling right? That's a question we need to ask. And there are some challenges in recycling as well. They consume a lot of water, energy. And like, for example, the PET bottle, which is something you'll never see on the road because it's like 30 rupees a kilo. People pick it up, they sell it. It's got a very good recycling chain. And the recycled PET bottles get mostly converted to yarn, a fiber. And even the Mumbai Indians team proudly says that they are wearing recycled shirts. But well, every time they wash that shirt, there are microplastics. The fiber leaches into the water. And what Ravi was saying, a lot of water contamination. The biggest challenge now for water management is these microplastics, nanoparticles of plastic that we don't know what to do with. So a lot of your seen waste, you bag it, you say, okay, I'm giving it for recycling. Actually, it becomes unseen. Toxins in the air, you're breathing it, it's going in your water stream. So we have to be very picky and choose recycling right. And obviously, to ensure that first step is reduce or refuse. So once you refuse, reduce, reuse, then you go to recycling, make sure you're recycling right. These are some challenges that the recycling industry has. And we as a community can definitely come up with innovative ideas to make sure it's cradle to cradle, make sure it's circular economy. There is no negative impact on the environment because of recycling. So as what's the plan for today? I'm going to give you 4 simple hacks to pledge. And you must start if you're not already doing it. And if you're already doing it, send us pictures that you're doing it so more people get motivated. The first hack is to segregate into 3 bins at home. So you've got to get the color-coded bins so everybody coming, your staff, domestics. Labeling is important in your office. A lot of segregated labels so still mix up. When I go for a waste audit, almost all 99% I see mixed waste. So it's a myth that you're segregating if you don't do it right. So there's blue or yellow for dry, wet is green, and trash is of course the red one. And then the next is any dry waste that you collect, which is contaminated or soil, you must cut clean and flatten. If you leave moisture in it, it becomes difficult to collect. And we need a volume. A truck can't come just to take 1 carton from your house. So you need to do it with your society. You need to keep a separate bin. So one of your hacks is cut, clean, and flatten your Tetra Pak cartons and deposit it in a recycling bin. And there are lots of recycling bins in Mumbai, which we can share about. Start composting, that I love, and we all must. If you don't even have a composter, there are lots available on Amazon. You can write to me as well. I can guide you, but you can do it in a bucket. It's as easy as that. And start composting today. And last but not the least, this is the challenge wala, the tough one, is that you've got to stop your bin liners. So these are those plastic bags. They could be compostable bags, biodegradable, all are not really breaking down. They all end up in the landfill. So for at least your wet waste and dry waste, move plastic bags. Just say no to them and wash your bins, regularly, and you should be fine. So these are the 4 simple hacks that I hope everybody starts today. And looking forward to an exciting year with the Stanford alumni community on sustainability.